I've noticed lately that what turns people away from a lot of anime and a lot of Japanese storytelling in general is the sheer amount of drama and exaggeration used for either comedic or dramatic effect. And I'm not even talking about one specific anime or a bunch of specific anime. This is everywhere. And it's an understandable nitpick. But it also begs the question of why this actually is. What influenced this style of expression and where did it originate from? The answer to this actually comes from Japanese history. The kinds of stories a culture tells will come from their history of stories, and Japan is no different. Let's run through the history of Japan's way of telling stories. It sounds strange, but the exaggerated movements and voices of anime characters can be traced all the way back to the Edo period or Tokugawa period. This goes from the 16 to 1800s. This is when Japanese art and theater was flourishing. Stories of great samurai, emperors, and yokai were painted and brought to life with drama and grace. This brings us to Japanese theater. Theater in Japan included banraku, a puppet performance, no, and the iconic kabuki theater. Unlike modern theater, kabuki theater didn't attempt to use realism in their characters. Kabuki was all about wild wigs and crazy, glaring eyes behind exaggerated makeup. Kabuki was designed to be over the top in every aspect, which included the dance, singing, and dialogue. Everything is meant to have impact on the audience. Despite this, kabuki was very much set in real life. Similarly to old Japanese prints of wild samurai, kabuki had exaggerated expressions and dance. This was later adopted by Japanese films. Fast forward a few years, and one of the most influential Japanese films of all time was released. The Seven Samurai, created by Akira Kurosawa in 1954, was a story focused on 7 samurai who have loyalty to a small village, protecting them from bandits. How this story is relevant to anime and its exaggeration comes from its characters, who all have specific personalities and corresponding gestures or habits, such as our wise leader rubbing his shaven head when he is happy or in thought, or how Kukuchiyo, the soulful yet boisterous fool, constantly hops around with his odachi over his shoulder. The film had multiple exaggerated scenes and gestures made specifically for these characters, which was partly inspired by the exaggerated movements in kabuki theater. Fast forward a little further, and as animation became the preferred medium in Japan, anime made its appearance with these same features of exaggerated movements and expressions that were incorporated. However, there's another reason why anime specifically is so exaggerated. The majority of anime are first made as manga or comics. With comics, exaggeration can sometimes be hard to transfer into animation, thus making the animation more exaggerated and choppy at times. In conclusion, I think it's pretty cool that currently Japanese media, especially shonen, keeps up the traditionally exaggerated characters, and it's always interesting to see how art forms evolve in different countries.